Hey guys, if you haven't already, give the video a like, subscribe to my channel. This is a what if series and I'll be doing more down the road. Plus Ultra!
Hey guys, and welcome to What If Naruto was the reincarnation of Vegito? Now, we left off with part 2 ending and me telling you that the whole team would go on their 1 month training arc. Now, let's get into part 3. Naruto would spend most of the month training by himself as he really didn't have anyone in the village that could possibly train him. I mean, Jiraiya would occasionally teach Naruto something like taijutsu wise, but it's nothing that none of the leaders can teach him because everything that Naruto has come in his life has came natural to him, or basically just a fluctuation of his mind and memories just going through like limiters in his head or stuff like that. Anyway, so Naruto would mostly be training by himself, and he would get used to his attacks such as the Kamehameha, the Gallic Gun, the final Kamehameha, and the Big Bang Kamehameha. Those two attacks that I said right there would be very strong attacks that Naruto used in the all-out battle. Now, such as the Kamehameha and the Gallic Gun, those are just two simple attacks. Now, Naruto has come up on something called the Kaioken, and he uses that to basically just train with. He uses to see what it can do, and it's basically a incantation, well, incarnation, well, reincarnation, or something like that, whatever you want to call it. It's something Naruto just puts it toe and toe to Might Guy's Eight Gates and the Kaioken. And it's somewhat like that as the levels progress. So there are 20 levels to the Kaioken, but there's 8 gates though. Anyway, Naruto thinks it reference to something like that. He doesn't know, but it's just a scientific matter with that. Naruto doesn't get in, so he just says, huh, I don't want to think about that. Anyway, so Naruto, well, as his training is about to come to an end, he spends the 1 week of his training with these memories in his head because something in his head keeps telling him to picture your whole entire village dying. Picture everyone that you see about to die, like you lost everything, like someone came here and just slaughtered everyone before your eyes. As Naruto's seeing all these images in his head, as he's outside training, all of a sudden he erupts in a golden aura and he screams out in agony as the tears are flowing down his face, as his hair changes to yellow. And Naruto is even screaming heavier than before as his aura then fluctuates and you see these shocks emanating over Naruto as his eyes go blank and he's just continuing to erupt in energy. And this huge yellow, like electricity like aura is just shooting up into the sky as the clouds get black and you can feel the winds getting stronger and the ground beginning to shake like beneath Naruto's pressure as he's powering up. All of a sudden Naruto just powers down and passes out. The sky turns back to its original light blue color and everything settles down. Now the whole Leaf Village would be in a immense frantic, like they would be in panic mode right now. Like, what the hell just happened? Like, what just happened right now? The sky just went dark. There was this huge yellow beam of energy just shooting up into the sky, and the ground was shaking, and you could hear Naruto screaming as loud as it was. You could hear it. And this is where Naruto would wake up back in his apartment with Hinata basically nursing him back to like awake night consciousness. So Naruto would awake and he would sense Hinata in there and she would say, hey, don't pass out on me yet. We haven't gotten to our battle and I still want to know what you're capable of. Now Naruto would touch his head and he would say, oh, my head. I got a headache. But Naruto would instantly jump back up and he would say, there's something I want to try real quick. So Naruto would instantly transform into Super Saiyan, and then he would transform into Super Saiyan 2. Being the genius that Vegito was, I think it would just come natural to him, as it would come natural to him. Now Naruto transforming into these two levels, he would say that he had memories that were going through his head of his whole village dying, and I guess it was from his Kekkei Genkai. And Hinata would say, what is your Kekkei Genkai exactly? Naruto would say, I guess it's got to do with something called Zenkai. Well, and Hinata said, what? And Naruto would basically explain, I get these memories through my head of certain events. It's like patterns of words that tells me to do a specific phrase as to how I can acquire these powers. Back then it was just natural to me as I had these talents that I didn't know I possessed. But it's like these memories would come to me in patterns or just paragraphs, and I would read them. And this memory basically helped me gain, I guess, a new transformation. Well, two new transformations at that. Naruto would show Hinata his two transformations, and he would dub them called, I guess this one would be Super Saiyan 1. And this right here, as he transformed with the electricity around his body, this one right here would be Super Saiyan 2. Hinata would feel the heaviness and the amount of energy coming from Naruto, and this is where she knows that this battle is going to be very, very intense. It's going to be so intense that it might destroy the area that they're in. So the next day would come, and Naruto and what everyone would walk into the stadium with Naruto and Hinata being the first two combatants to be on the field. Now Naruto would tell Hinata to come at him with everything she has, and this is where Hinata would say same to you. Now the both of them, the practice would say let the battle commence, and Hinata and Naruto would both charge at each other. Now these two would get into an engaged taijutsu battle with each other, and you would feel the gust of wind coming off these two children. As the winds and currents are picking up and the sky is beginning to change colors, Hiruzen starts to look up and he says, Jesus Christ, these two Genin are strong. I knew Hinata was powerful, but I didn't know she was on the par with Naruto. As Naruto and Hinata are engaging in blow for blow, and Naruto is slightly gaining that, well, not slightly, Naruto's gaining the upper hand on her, as Naruto is beginning to up his speed, up his power, and he tells Hinata that if you're not going to get serious, Hinata, if you're basically dubbing or scouting my power, then I'm going to get rid of you in an instant. Naruto instantly powers up to Kaioken times 20, and he starts ragdolling Hinata all around the area of the tournament, basically bodying Hinata. Now Hinata has nothing up her arsenal as she tries to use her Byakugan, but it doesn't work. And it seemed as if Naruto is basically counterattacking every arsenal that Hinata has. Now Hinata gets angry, and when I say angry, she gets angry, and a huge burst of power sends Naruto flying back into a wall and creating a crater into the wall. As Naruto breathed, he braced himself for impact and falling onto the ground. Naruto would look at Hinata as an explosion of bluish green energy would shoot into the sky. Hinata's eyes would be green as she then floats back to the ground. Now Hinata would then move at speed matching Naruto's and punch him dead in the stomach. It would happen as so fast as Naruto basically just seeing her just come from, like, soon as she landed to the ground, she was right in his face. She would punch Naruto in the stomach and then deliver a right hook to Naruto's face as Naruto would cough up spit. She would grab Naruto by the ground, like his leg, and start slamming him into the ground, similar to how Broly did to Goku in the anime or the movie. And Naruto would be screaming out in pain as Hinata is doing this, and she would then kick him into a wall, creating a crater into it, and Naruto would fall out of it, basically with his eyes rolling to the back of his head. Now Naruto would gather his bearings, and then he would instantly punch Hinata in the stomach and kick her away from him as she took the two hits from this like it was nothing. Now Hinata, the aura around Hinata would dissipate, and it would reveal that Hinata has the Tensegan in her eyes. Now the Tensegan is going to be a few buff. It's going to be that one buff in this universe that gives Naruto the battle he's so desperately looking for. Anyway, now as Hinata and Naruto are both engaging in battle, Naruto instantly transforms up to Super Saiyan 1. And this battle between these two characters are going at it. Like the heat of the battle, the intensity of the battle, and the destruction that it is causing. Like Hiruzen is... He's strongly considering like stopping this match right now and just declaring the both of them tuning by default. He just wants to stop this match right now and declare both Hinata and Naruto tuning by default, because the both of their fists colliding with each other and the energy from the shock waves of the mere punches that they're doing is creating winds so strong that it's basically almost tearing apart the fucking stadium. Hiruzen would appear as Hinata and Naruto are finna come and they're finna do a huge attack. Hinata powers up some energy into her palm as she does something similar to how Trunks does it, and she has this huge ball of energy and finna shoot it at Naruto, and Naruto sits on the ground and gathers his Kamehameha and it charges up into a super Kamehameha as the both of them are looking at each other and they throw these blasts at each other and it creates a huge beam struggle between the two. Now this is causing some destruction to the tournament, and this is where The two attacks then explode, sending Hinata and Naruto flying back. Now Naruto basically gathers himself as he's now transformed into Super Saiyan 2. Hinata is now battle damaged as both of them are. Naruto is missing the top layers of his shirt like all Dragon Ball. You know how Dragon Ball Z characters get battle damaged. Similar to how Goku is, but yeah. So Naruto's battle damage and his shirt is highly torn off. And right now Naruto's looking at Hinata as she's looking at him. And the stadium is somewhat intact by this. Orochimaru surprisingly hasn't started the whole Konoha attack yet because everyone is immensely drawn into how destructive but how interesting this battle really is. They're too drawn in right now. They can't turn away. They can't turn away. So as the both of them are continuing to battle, Naruto and Hinata is coming in for one final blow as he rules and then while body flickers down and basically says enough. And the two of them then stop. He says, that is enough. This battle will be a draw between the both of you. You are tuning by default. That is enough. As if you were to do that final attack, I don't think this area would hold up anymore. As Hinata and Goku, well, I almost said Goku. As Hinata and Naruto look around, they see the tournament is torn up badly. They see that some of the Jonin had to use like chakra barriers to protect from incoming damage and stuff like that. And basically Naruto and Hinata just looked and basically scratched the back of their head and said sorry as they smiled with a big wide grin on their face. They fist bumped each other and they told each other good match and they walked back to the stadium. Now, Gaara and Sasuke's battle would commence the same way it did in canon. Sorry if it's not as interesting as that fight. But anyway, Gaara and Sasuke's match would still be the same way. But only this time, Sasuke would use the Shindori off rip. Like I'm telling you right now, because Sasuke's mind is so mad right now that Naruto's so above him that he has nothing in his arsenal to compete against Naruto. So when he went to punch Gaara and he like moved out of the way, hold on. So when he went to punch Gaara and he instantly body flickered away and went behind Gaara, he would already have a Shindori in hand and shoot it through Gaara's shoulders. And that would piss Gaara off. He would slit his hand out as Sasuke is not playing with Gaara. He's finna beat him right here. And if he has to kill him, oh well. Sasuke is filled with anger right now. Gaara screams out in agony and pain and he yells blood as he clutches his wound on his shoulder. And then Sasuke is sent hurtling back as a tail just comes and hits Sasuke and he crashes into a wall. Sasuke gathers his bearing, but the blunt force from that attack did damage Sasuke a little bit, but he got back up and he looked at Gaara, who was now in his half-tailed Shukaku form. Gaara jumps over the stadium and runs away as the whole Konoha Crush arc begins. Now this is where Naruto and Kakashi is telling Sasuke to go after Gaara. And the whole cloud where the whole flowers, this whole like feather thing would float down and try to put everybody to sleep, but it wouldn't put Naruto to sleep. And Sakura would also release herself because she was a genjutsu specialist. Sasuke wouldn't be falling asleep or nothing like that because he had a Sharingan after he just basically released the jutsu too. So this is where Kakashi would tell him to go after Gaara, Temari, and Kankuro and go after them. And Naruto would join him on his mission. Now this is where Orochimaru would meet Hiruzen and that whole battle would go the same way it did. Now we're going to cut over to basically Naruto telling Sakura to stay here. Naruto looks at Sakura and he says, stay here, Sakura. Make sure everyone's safe. And you can help out greatly if you stay in the village. Now, because if you chase us, you're going to get in the way heavily. Sakura would say, why do you think I'm going to get in the way, Naruto? And Naruto would say this very, very bluntly. Yes, I do. As you are not strong enough. I don't want you to get hurt, Sakura. So that's what Naruto would say to her. And then Naruto would teleport away and he would go into watching Sasuke's battle with Gaara. Now Sasuke would have instantly caught up to Gaara and through his frustration, he would have been battling against Gaara. Now Gaara would have pinned Sasuke in the corner and this is where Sasuke would feel the frustrations of his emotions overwhelming him. And Sasuke would awaken the 3 Tomoe Sharingan. Now Sasuke would get into a heated battle with Gaara, sending off very huge kicks and punches through his abdominal section, punching Gaara in the stomach, punching Gaara in the face, slamming Gaara into the ground, and throwing him through multiple trees. And then Sasuke would send off a huge fireball attack, and he would say, fire style, majestic destroyer flame. And this would be one of Madara's jutsus. Sasuke would instantly say this jutsu and throw it at Gaara, and Gaara would scream out in pain and agony as Sasuke is everywhere around Gaara, punching him in the stomach everywhere. And this is where Gaara would get mad and turn into his mini Shikaku form and do a huge gut punch to Sasuke. And Sasuke didn't perceive this attack since it's a huge amp from the tail beast back, I guess. And this would send Sasuke flying through trees, dozens of trees, and then he would hit a tree, rattling Sasuke's body. Now Sasuke would be on the ground on one knee, but his Sharingan would still be active, as Sasuke doesn't have that curse mark limiting to his chakra. So he's back in the fight, and he instantly goes toe to toe with Gaara. And Gaara's trying all of his tail beast attacks, but it's like Sasuke can perceive his attacks. And this Shukaku form starts to think of have a mind of his own, sort of how the Kurama's chakra did. I don't see why, the Shukaku form wouldn't be able to do that. So it'll start to have a mind of his own with Sasuke not being able to perceive the other amounts. So I don't know how it was played out, but this would happen, and Sasuke would start getting not really. It could be one-sided to a huge fact, but this is where Sasuke would instantly have the win against Gaara. Now Gaara would be on the ground, and Sasuke would do a huge fire-style fireball jutsu, but Naruto would swipe it away, and this is where Naruto would say, Sasuke, what are you trying to do? You're trying to kill Gaara? And this is where Sasuke would say, why did you get in the way? You're always in the way. Sasuke feels the anger boiling up in him, but he just lets out a sigh and tells Naruto, this guy just has a lot of hatred in the wrong area. It's somewhat similar to how you've been treated your whole life. Anyway, I'm good. I'm out of here. Sasuke body flickers away. He goes poofs away or body flickers, whichever one you want to use. But he body flickers away, and Sasuke then appears back into the village to help everyone out with their scuffles. Now, Naruto instantly talked no Jutsu's Gaara, telling him that there's more to life than becoming a savage and killing, and that he knows Gaara's pain. He knows what Gaara's went through, as he's been gifted with power with people that could basically do nothing to him. Couldn't even challenge him, couldn't even touch him, let alone hurt him. He's been gifted with these abilities, and he doesn't, he's learning to control them. As each and every power set that comes to him, he's learning to transform, or learning to conquer, or learning to basically have this huge power up. As he tells Gaara to basically train, grow stronger, fight for the good cause. Don't let your hatred, your pain turn you into something like the people who were trying to basically rid you of this world or call you a demon. You are becoming exactly what they called you. And this is where Gaara would have a tear come out of his eyes. And it would be sort of that Vegeta type, Goku type, Naruto type talk no jutsu. That was a lot of types. Anyway, so Naruto would talk to Jutsu Gaara, and then he would instantly teleport back in the midst of Hiruzen and Orochimaru's battle skirmish. He would say, I have to go. And this is where Hiruzen would almost be on the verge of using the Reaper of Death seal, but when Naruto teleported there, he grabbed Orochimaru by his neck, and he squeezed tightly as Orochimaru was gasping for air. Now, the Sound Form would be shocked to see Naruto there. It has this Sannin by the neck, has their master by the neck, and then Naruto would be squeezing tightly as he then puts his hand on Orochimaru's chest, and he tells him, die. And then this is where Naruto would send out a huge gust of power, and it would shoot through Orochimaru's chest. The Sound Force would deactivate the barriers, and this is where Naruto would instantly body each and every all four of them. They would try to use their second stage curse mark transformation, but Naruto would be too fast as Naruto transforms into a Super Saiyan 2 and starts beating the literal shit out of each and every one of the Sound members. His moves were so fast, it was like yellow energy was just shooting across them, and this is where Hiruzen would say, is that Minato? And this is where the yellow energy would just be shooting all over the area, punching each and every one of them very, very fast and effectively. Now, this is where Orochimaru would tell them to retreat, and Naruto would grab Orochimaru by the face and slam him into the ground, creating a huge crater. And this is where Naruto would say, if you ever come near this village or hurt anyone in this village again, I will basically annihilate you till there is nothing left. And then this is where Naruto would kick Orochimaru directly out of the village. Orochimaru will fall through dozens of trees, and this is where the sound form would body flicker away, along with Kabuto to go check on their master. Naruto would basically power down, and he would run over to Hiruzen to see if he's all right. And everything would go up per normal with all that. Just the fact that Naruto has saved Hiruzen, he's just bodied Gaara like a Shukaku or tailed beast threat, and he's basically named as the hero of the village at a young age. And Hiruzen instantly promotes Naruto to the rank of Jonin. Naruto is excited from his efforts. Now he's noticed from the village. After being like called so many names and being threatened or being battled as he grew up throughout his lifetime, he's finally gained acceptance all throughout the villagers. Through hard work, well, not so much hard work, but just through sheer determination, he's gained what he was looking for. Now, Sasuke would just grit his teeth, and this would be an end result. As Orochimaru tells them that Sasuke is on the verge of coming to them. So now Orochimaru is healing, but he says this so eagerly that Sasuke is on the verge of coming to him. So in a few weeks or a few days or a few weeks, we should go get him. You four. And this is where he would tell Kimimaru to join them too. Now, this is where Naruto and Jiraiya would finally catch up with each other. Now, Naruto and Jiraiya would still have their kind of friendship that they did in canon with that sort of sensei-student friendship with each other. Now, there would be nothing that Jiraiya could teach Naruto, but they would still have their friendship with each other. Just Naruto doesn't like Jiraiya's perviness, but the funny side of Naruto finds it funny that he does things like this. And when they're going to retrieve Tsunade, they instantly go to a hotel because Jiraiya had to do some work and Naruto's in his room. He gets a knock at the door. Now, Naruto jumps up, and this is where Naruto would say, "Who's there?" Then Naruto wouldn't open the door because he can feel two malicious powers behind that door. And Naruto just says this, "All right, I'm coming out." He comes out of the room and he sees two figures, Itachi Uchiha and Kisame. And this is where Naruto would say, "Well, you're Itachi and you're Kisame. Do you know you guys both names are in the bingo book?" "Yeah, I do a lot of studying," as Naruto instantly punches Itachi and Kisame in the stomach. And the both of them fall to the ground, clutching their stomach from the force of this attack. Now, Kakashi spews into crows and Kisame turns into water. And this is where the both of them say, "This kid got skill." And this is where Naruto says, "Yeah, you're right," as the image that was in front of them just fade into an after image. And Naruto then punches Kisame and Itachi, the real ones, in the stomach hard. And this is where you can't do that shit twice. So let's see how you handle this time, the second time, as I won't miss. This is where Itachi and Kisame falls to the ground, and then Naruto taijutsus both of them, punching, kicking, and Itachi then gets into his Mangekyo Sharingan and bursts off gets Naruto off of him, and tries to punch Naruto into the face, but Naruto grabs Itachi's arm and slams him into the ground. This is where Sasuke comes out of nowhere and says Itachi and starts running at Itachi. He doesn't even say his name. He just starts blitzing Itachi and has a Shindori right at Itachi's chest. Itachi didn't even see this coming as Sasuke is right there, but his Sharingan managed to, his Sharingan basically formed the Susanoo very, very fast. As Sasuke hit the rib cage of a Susanoo, and Itachi used the arm of a Susanoo to just knock Sasuke into a wall and knock Sasuke back. Now Naruto would see this and instantly teleport right behind Kisame and kick him directly in the back and shattering Kisame's spine and throwing off a ki blast, basically disintegrating Kisame entirely, along with the whole shark sword. Kisame is dead. This pissed Naruto off, as Naruto is now in Super Saiyan mode. Itachi has dubbed this mission a failure, as they weren't expecting Naruto to basically be this strong. They wasn't expecting anything like this, and Itachi has to report back and say that they lost a member of the Akatsuki. Now Itachi just plumes into dozens of crows and everything, and this is where Naruto basically runs over to Sasuke, with Sasuke just wiping his arm away and saying that, "I'm so weak. I'm so weak." Now, Sasuke has tears in his eyes, and he's crying heavily. And this is where Sasuke he sighs and goes right back to the village and says, "Whatever." He returns back to the village, and the Sasuke goes back to the village, and everything plays out of normal with Naruto, Jiraiya, finally catching up with Tsunade in a bar. And that's where I'm going to end everything, you guys. Let me know in the comments if you want a part 4 to What If Naruto Was Vegito's Reincarnation. And that's probably it. So let's get into the outro. You guys have a good. So without any further ado, you guys have a good day, a good night, and plus ultra. Good night, guys.